The problem with performing this sort of work is that you assign these large tasks, and I never really planned that. However, what did I do? I believed you would be an excellent person to do it, so I authorized the location. I was asked a question the other day that I had never truly been asked before. Mick, who are the 5 people you love the most after all these years? They asked. That's a totally different question than asking who the best musicians were, so I chuckle for a moment. The best musicians. That is a topic of endless debate. The individuals you cherish. That's private. I've spent most of my life with exceptional individuals. Some went on to become well-known, some were already well-known, some were in my life for a very long time, and some were only there for a little period of time. However, each of them left behind something. You don't give that much thought while you're young. You're too preoccupied with planning the next tour, recording the next album, and figuring out where you'll be the next week. You never think you'll get to a point in your life when the majority of your fondest memories are past you rather than in front of you. However, that's life. As I've gotten older, I've seen that my thoughts have shifted from performances to individuals. The concerts are remembered. Before we entered the stage, I recall who was standing next to me. The records are recalled by people. I recall the chats that took place after everyone had left for their homes. These are the things that stick with you. Over the years, I've had the good fortune to meet some amazing folks. I laughed more at some than at others. I learned lessons from others without even recognizing it. Even though they were only in my life for a little period of time, they managed to leave me with enduring memories. I gave the question some serious thought. Almost instantly, 5 names sprang to mind. They mattered so much to me, not because they were the greatest stars or the most gifted. Charlie Watts was the first name that sprang to mind. Few people will likely be surprised by it. Charlie and I spent most of our lives together, if you knew anything about the Rolling Stones. People often noted how unusual we were when they looked at us. I moved around the stage all the time. Charlie hardly moved. I relished the mayhem that seemed to accompany our band everywhere we went. Quiet times always seemed to make Charlie happier. That, according to others, made us an unusual couple. I never did. Every band needs someone like Charlie, in my opinion. Someone who doesn't need to be the loudest individual present. Someone who is at ease letting others take the stage. That's how Charlie was. He never appeared to want to prove anything. Night after night, year after year, he just turned up, sat behind his drums, and performed what he always did. Consistency in music is a topic of discussion. Charlie experienced it firsthand. His dependability was something I always valued. Charlie didn't cause any controversy. He would arrive before 2 if rehearsals began at that time. You never questioned whether Charlie would be prepared for our show that evening. He was at all times. Trust becomes something you don't even consider after working with someone for so long. It simply becomes the norm. It was sufficient for me to hear him count us in. Everything else appeared to work itself out. He was an exquisite drummer, of course, and everyone remembers that. They are correct. No one could match his style. However, the music is not the first thing that comes to me when I think about Charlie. I consider the dude. I consider all the hotels, dressing rooms, airports we sat in together, and miles we covered without either of us understanding how much time had passed. After spending so many years with someone, they no longer feel like a bandmate. They are only a part of your daily existence. That's why it felt so weird to lose Charlie. We had lost more than just our drummer. Someone I had hoped to see again was gone. Someone who had been there all along. Even now, whenever I hear one of our old recordings, I can't help but listen to Charlie more than anybody else. That must be the result of having someone in your life for a very long time. You can't recall a single significant event. You recall a lifetime of small children. The next individual who crossed my thoughts exuded an entirely different type of energy everywhere she went. Tina Turner is the next person I want to discuss. Few people can stop you from staring at everyone else when they step onto a stage. Tina was able to. That was the type of presence she possessed. The performances were seen by the public. The voice was visible to them. They witnessed that amazing energy. I also witnessed such incidents. She isn't on our list, though, for that reason. Tina never complicated things, so I always liked being around her. It was simple to laugh and converse with her. Some people in this industry seem to be performing non-stop, even when they go off the stage. That wasn't Tina. After the program ended, she was just Tina. I've always valued that. People probably didn't realize how much time we spent conversing whenever our paths met. We would occasionally discuss music. We would occasionally discuss life on the road. At times, we would scarcely discuss work at all. That's often what occurs once you've been doing something for a certain amount of time. You cease discussing careers. Instead, you discuss life. People still recall the times we performed together, of course. I know we had a great time. However, the audience wouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind. The lights wouldn't be the cause. It would be the moments before we took the stage, standing backstage, laughing, and ensuring that everything was prepared. I usually tend to remember those small moments more than the actual performances. Tina's ability to deal with all life threw at her was one quality I found admirable. Parts of her tale are known to most people. They are aware of the challenges she faced. I wasn't impressed that she made it through them. It was that she never allowed those encounters to diminish her kindness. She was still grinning. She continued to chuckle. She continued to be kind to others. It is not always simple to accomplish that. Some people are transformed by success. Others are changed by hardship. Tina didn't seem to alter as a result of either. She remained loyal to herself. She was the same lady I had always known when I last saw her. Warm, kind, and vibrant. I started thinking more about the chats we'd had over the years, and less about the music when I learned she had left. What sticks with you is humorous. Just the small moments, not the big ones. I still think about that, Tina. David is unlike anyone I've ever met, I believe. Some people can draw attention to themselves when they enter a room. David didn't need to. He wasn't attempting to get your attention, but you did. He had a certain quality. Usually, people begin by praising his inventiveness. I am aware that he appeared to change drastically every few years. The majority of artists dedicate their professional lives to preserving a picture that never appeared to pique David's attention. He was constantly searching for the next challenge, the next concept, or the next iteration of himself. I was impressed by that. Whenever we happened to cross paths, the chat never felt forced because we originally got to know one another many years ago. Naturally, we would discuss music, but we would also wind up discussing literature or whatever else had piqued David's interest that week. He was interested in everything. That, in my opinion, is what made him fascinating for so long. He was always learning new things. Dancing on the street is a common topic of conversation. Every time someone mentions it, I still grin. Making it was a lot of fun. To be honest, I don't recall being concerned about its success. I recall chuckling. I recall two buddies having a good time. The first thing that comes to mind is that David's willingness to adapt was one quality I found admirable. That's challenging. It's incredibly tempting to continue providing the same thing to people once they start expecting it from you. That's not how David ever worked. He followed his gut. They were occasionally understood by others. They didn't always. He never appeared to be too bothered by it. He simply continued to advance. We didn't always get to see one another. In this industry, nobody does. It never seemed like much time had passed when we reunited. Even though everyone ends up on various tours, projects, and regions of the world, we just picked up where we left off. I sat in silence for a long time after learning that David had left. The abrupt silence of someone who had always been producing didn't seem plausible. There are a few individuals in every age that alter the perspectives of others. David was undoubtedly one of them. However, the personalities and the costumes no longer come to mind when I think about him. I reflect on the discussions. As I consider the laughs, I also consider how much more fascinating an afternoon could be if David Bowie just so happened to enter the room. I am aware that the Beatles and the Rolling Stones have been compared for years. I can see why. Both of us were young. Both of us were recording at the same time, and we were from England. Rivalries are adored by people. In all honesty, I never thought it was that easy. Naturally, our goal was to create outstanding records. The Beatles' outstanding releases inspired the rest of us to put forth much more effort. When another band released something fresh, I'm sure they felt the same way. That is beneficial to music. Everyone benefits from it. That didn't stop me from respecting John, though. It's not one of his tunes that immediately springs to mind. Everyone is already familiar with those. I recall how straightforward he was. John's thoughts were always clear to you. He would tell you if he agreed with you. He would also inform you if he believed you were mistaken. With John, there was very little faking. That has always appealed to me. Many people in this industry say what they believe you want to hear. One of them was not John. He expressed his beliefs. That required bravery, whether or not others liked it. We would wind up discussing much more than music whenever we were together. Family, fame, growing older, and attempting to lead a life that resembled a normal one while everyone appeared to know your name. I really valued those discussions. They served as a reminder that, despite everything else, we were all simply individuals attempting to make sense of the peculiar existence we had been given. I recall sitting there in utter shock when I learned what had happened to John. You are informed of the news. You're hoping that someone is mistaken. Then you see that they haven't. It's hard to put that moment into words. That day, one of the greatest composers in history passed away. I lost someone with whom I truly loved conversing. I still occasionally find myself thinking about the man rather than the music when I hear one of his songs. That's how you know someone truly meant anything to you, I guess. The music never went away. The memories didn't either. Keith Richards is the last guy I want to discuss. Nobody will be shocked to hear his name, in my opinion. Whether you intend to or not, if you spend more than 60 years with someone, they will inevitably become a part of your life. Our bond has always captivated others. They have written about our conflicts, disagreements, and periods of little communication. The majority of the tales are accurate. You won't always agree with someone you've known for so long. In fact, if we did, I would be concerned. The irony is that most people concentrate on the moments when we disagreed. They don't talk about all the years we spent working together for nearly as long. There were many more of those. When Keith and I were younger, we were both big fans of American blues music. In actuality, it all began there. We didn't have a big plan. We had no intention of altering the song. We really had a great time playing. That somehow became a lifetime. Keith and I have shared more stages than anyone else. More flights, more hotel rooms, more recording sessions, more rehearsals, and more late nights spent attempting to finish tunes that would likely sound better the next morning. Words lose any significance after you've experienced so much together. Sometimes, without saying anything, we could tell exactly what the other person was thinking. After 60 years, that is not out of the ordinary. That's just the way things are. I'm frequently asked what kept the Rolling Stones together. I don't believe there is a single solution. However, I am aware of this. Neither of us ever lost faith in the band's worth. We always managed to get back together, even at trying moments, when we irritated one another and when we needed some distance. That, in my opinion, is because respect was always present beneath everything else. If you don't respect someone, you can't collaborate on music for the rest of your life. I think I appreciate it more now than I did when we were 25. When I look across the stage and see Keith standing where he has always been. You assumed it would continue forever back then. You now see the true value of this privilege. The older I become, the more appreciative I am that we are both still here. Over the years, we've lost a lot of friends. Too many amazing individuals have left us. I would thus never take another performance, practice, or even a chat for granted. The bond I made with Keith Richards is the one this business has given me that has most influenced my life. That is something I wouldn't exchange for anything. In retrospect, I see that music provided me with much more than a job. I got folks from it. These days, that's the first thing that springs to mind. Not the sold-out tours, not the albums, not the accolades. The individuals. I learned what silent loyalty looked like from Charlie. Tina taught me that a person may be both nice and strong. David never ceased demonstrating to me that there are always many perspectives on the world. John demonstrated that being honest is important, even if it causes discomfort. Keith as well. Keith has supported me at almost every stage of my adult life. When you're young, you believe that your accomplishments determine your level of success. As you become older, you understand that it's also determined by the people who stood with you during your accomplishment. I think I'm quite lucky. I got to spend my life with individuals who made that trip meaningful, not because I became famous. I sometimes hear one of our old tunes on the radio. People think I'm recalling the recording session. I'm not most of the time. I'm recalling who was there, who made me laugh that day, and who lingered after everyone else had departed. More than anything else, those memories tend to endure. After all these years, if I've learned anything, it's that professions inevitably become history. Friendships become an integral part of your identity. And they are the voices you hear the most, long after the cheers have subsided. Thank you for viewing. Tell us what you think by leaving a comment. Watch the video that shows up on your screen next to watch more videos.